What's up, guys, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 64. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason, and I'm joined, as always, today by Herman Holst. Very special guest today. No, only kidding. Of course, I'm joined by Travis. Travis, what's going on?
Hey, I had an interesting thought today at dinner. I wanted to run by you.
Uh-oh.
My parents were talking, and I was in a different world. That's usually how that works. And I was, for example, in town here we have 2 funeral homes. Why are they just called like Brown Funeral Home? Why not be called Brown Funeral Home and Body Shop?
Oh, that's good. Well,
It's perfect.
the market's open for you to slide right in.
Do you think body shop is American lingo? Like, will people in other countries understand what I mean by that? Like, because like if you crash your car here and you need to get the fender fixed, you'll take it to the body shop. But I don't know if they call that overseas. Do they just call it a mechanic or like a?
Yeah, I feel like they just call it the mechanic, or maybe they call it the lorry shop or something weird like that.
Oh, that's a good one. Lorry shop is really cool. I just feel like in America, because we robbed every other civilization of everything and made it our own, in air quotes, on our own, that we would. Yeah, that's why we have so many nicknames for things. Is because we just like the body shop. We probably heard something similar to that in French, and we're like, cool, we'll just take it.
You take it easy there. You're infringing on our American imperialism a little bit there. I've been watching the Netflix 9/11 documentary, and I'm pretty tore up and fired up. So
you got some manifest destiny in your balls.
Yeah, careful there. So anyway, I'm proper because of that. I am, of course, properly depressed as always. It's a tough show to watch. It punches you right in the gut, and then you get us on there doing our thing that we did. Going and trying to find those terrorists and stuff. So then it gets you a little bit, back into the game, I guess.
Have they talked about how George Bush could have made a deal with I forget which country it was, but right after 2002, he could have made a deal. I think it was Saudi Arabia, maybe. It was a country they were willing to give up.
Yeah, I remember this.
Bin Laden, and he said no because we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah,
he couldn't say terrorists. He said terrorists.
I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. Like it was 20 years ago, but no, I haven't got to that part yet. The part that I just left off with was that we had Osama bin Laden in a cave system in Afghanistan. We had him cornered, and for whatever reason, instead of sending real soldiers, we sent a couple of advisors to Afghanistan to allow the Northern Alliance Afghanistan people to go in and try to get him instead of us doing it for some reason. Anyway, we're off on a tangent. Anyway, guys, we are a PlayStation podcast where Travis and I get together each and every week to discuss all of the news, rumors, new games, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We post new episodes every Monday on all of the usual podcast services around the world, like the one you're listening to right now, as well as YouTube, where you can find some of our game streams and clips as well, like a nice little Hell Let Loose highlight clip, I guess, if you will, that's doing the rounds right now for us on the YouTube. And also, if you guys want to engage with us or talk with us, we would love to hear from you. Find us on Twitter at the DualSense Pod. We're very active there in those Twitter streets. And without further ado, Travis, let's jump right into a meaty week of news here as we got to enjoy a PlayStation Showcase. All right, Travis, let's jump right in here, and figured what we would do is take every announcement or reveal, just go through them here, and if there's anything that we want to stop and talk about, we can do that. So if there's something that piques your interest, feel free to jump in here, and then at the end, thought we could just give our kind of overall thoughts about the show as well. The show led off with Aspire Media, who shared a stinger trailer and revealed that they are indeed remaking Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from the ground up, and that it will be a PlayStation 5 console exclusive at launch. The game will be completely remade with modern tech, features, and visuals, while maintaining the story and characters from the original 2003 game.
What's interesting about this? First of all, I don't remember this game at all. I have no recollection of it. I might have played it. I just didn't realize that's what it was called. But I am and I mean, I guess director's cuts fall into this, but I am over remaking old games. Can we not be creative and make our own? This is, it's the same thing. We've talked about this before. I mean, months ago, that like, the Hollywood and Netflix model, how it works, how it pertains to the video game model, business model. But we're seeing these remakes of games like we see remakes of movies all the time. We're getting a Dune remake, which I am excited about the Dune remake. Bad example, but it's just like Star Wars has so much breadth. Like the lore of Star Wars is so big. Like, why can't something exist in its own world, in its own moment? We had a good moment. It's like at my wedding, we danced to all these like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s songs. And whenever we go to another wedding, my wife always requests those songs. And it's like, we had a nice moment. But you can't recreate the moment. It'll never be the same. Like, let it live and enjoy the memory, right? That's how I feel about remakes of games and movies. And so, just a little bit of foreshadowing, though, when we go off of a remake, like I just turned my thing on, I'm watching this, I'm excited, straight into a remake, I'm back down to like, I'm annoyed. I'm not even interested.
I hear you. You make a valid point. I will say that this is a very beloved game from way back when, obviously almost 20 years ago. I believe that it was on the original Xbox, and that was it. Maybe PC, but I'm not sure about that. It was developed by BioWare back in the day, who's Mass Effect and Dragon Age now and all that. They have nothing to do with this game. Obviously, I mean, there really was nothing to this. I think it is cool what they're trying to do, but I'm not going to play this. I think people are obviously very excited about it, but at the same time, I do hear what you're saying too, that sometimes it's best to just, leave things as they were. I mean, we don't have to remake everything that was a success or a hit. You know what I'm saying? So I hear you.
Yeah, I hope they'll remake NCAA Football 2007.
After that, Travis, we got to see developer Shift Up share a gameplay reveal trailer for their first console title, an action RPG called Project Eve. Shift Up has previously been a mobile and PC only developer producing Destiny Child, no, not the band, for mobile in 2018, followed by The Reason Why Ray Liotta ended up at the Duke's Mansion for PC back in May of this year. We then saw Tiny Tina's Wonderlands that showed us a gameplay reveal trailer, which looked super weird. And we learned that the game launches on March 25th on PS4 and PS5 with co-op play for up to 4 players.
I got to be honest, when I saw this, there was a little part of my brain that was like, if there was nothing else to play, I could see myself playing co-op on this. And then Tina started talking, and I was like, I would rather eat fire ants than listen to her fucking talk again.
Yeah, Borderlands is very over the top, and this is even more so over the top because it's a fantasy world combined with Borderlands, basically.
Yeah, when it first popped up, I was like, "Is this a weird Borderlands offshoot?"
Yeah, it's not for me, but people are very excited about it. So then, Luminous Productions shared the first real deep dive into the story of PlayStation 5 exclusive Forspoken with a new trailer, which also featured some new gameplay. The game is being written by Gary Whitta, who wrote Rogue One, a Star Wars story, great movie, and also Amy Hennig Travis, the former head writer and creative director for the Uncharted series. We also learned that the game's music is being composed by Bear McCreary, who is known for his work on the Walking Dead TV series and 2018's God of War. Forspoken will launch on PlayStation 5 sometime in the spring of 2022.
I'm interested to see what you think about this, but when I saw the trailer, for some reason it wasn't exactly what I had in line for what I thought Forspoken was going to be. I don't hate it though. I'm not as excited about it as I was before. I don't really have a reason. It just didn't feel like I wanted it to feel in the trailer. But I feel like as I see the gameplay and maybe another trailer or two, and I understand the story a little bit more, it's definitely somewhere on my list. Maybe like a 7 interest is what I would give it. It with all these people involved in it, that makes it more interesting to me.
I agree. I would give it a 7-ish interest for me. I would say that this trailer left me very intrigued, more intrigued than I was before. So I'm interested in it. I'm interested to know more about it. I'm interested to see kind of some more raw gameplay to see what the moment to moment is. I don't know if it's necessarily a game that I want to play right now, but they have time to convince us. Obviously, I thought it was actually pretty strong trailer for this game,
Mhm.
and in terms of setting up the story and like kind of what's going on, and it was well done.
Yeah. I wanna know more about the thing on her wrist that's, like, talking to her.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's got some heavy hitters. I mean, Gary Whitta, Amy Hennig, those are two heavy hitters, so it's gives it a little bit of gravitas. We'll see what they can pull off with that. After that, Ubisoft shared a new Rainbow Six Extraction gameplay trailer. We learned that the co-op PvE game will feature 4K at 60 frames per second with full HDR support on PS5, including enhanced particle and lighting effects, volumetric fog, DualSense haptic feedback, and adaptive trigger support. Extraction launches in January on both PS4 and PS5.
So you know what's funny about this game is, remember how annoyed we get like the Call of Duty's going back to World War II. We've done that 1,000
Mm,
times, and then so Rainbow Six is doing something different. They're doing this extraction thing with like some sort of alien invasion or alien infestation, whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
And my initial reaction was, well, there's other games out there that do this better.
mm.
But I can't. So I'm mad at Ubisoft for trying something new, but mad at Call of Duty for doing the same thing. Like it completely is a contradiction of what I should be upset about. So after I realized how dumb I was being, I gotta say, Rainbow Six. This is a type of game that could do the alien, infestation genre, whatever you want to call it, probably better than anybody. They have a really good shot at this being the best version of this type of game.
Mm.
I don't. The aliens freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie,
I figured. I figured.
but it looked interesting, and it had the cool Rainbow Six things that we're used to, like, you could put stuff up on the wall. Remember the part where he took the sledgehammer and broke through the wall to shoot the
That
aliens?
was
You could see
awesome.
see through the wall to see where they were. Those are
Yeah.
things that, we've always liked about Rainbow Six, even like, building fortifications, just random stuff like that. So it definitely has those core elements, it seems, of what makes Rainbow Six a lot of fun. If I can get past the alien being scary part, I think I would enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah.
This is probably the third highest game I'm excited about on this
Okay.
list.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
Mm,
I'm not out, but
okay.
not in.
I'm in the same spot. It is on my list of potential games. It's listed as a maybe. I am very intrigued. I've seen gameplay twice now, and both times it has made me a little bit more interested, which is a
Mhm,
good sign. The PS5 support sounds awesome, and
mhm.
that's really kind of a knock that I have about Siege is Siege plays good, but I don't think Siege looks very good. So
Right.
I want to see Extraction kind of in. Obviously, Siege is a 6-year-old game at this point, 5-year-old
Mhm.
game, no 6. So hopefully this one by default should look better. I'm not going to play this game by myself because it's a co-op. It's a 3-player co-op game, obviously. So I'm not going to get it unless I can convince some of you guys to get it. But
Right, right.
it's definitely on my radar. It reminds me of it seems like playing Terrorist Hunt on the old Rainbow Six game,
Mhm.
but the terrorists are aliens
Right.
is what it feels like to me, which sounds
That got me
awesome.
excited. Yeah, I got excited about that. What would
Yeah.
you call the genre that I'm trying to name right now? What is this called? Like,
Like a
it's like, is it not? It's not really a post-apocalypse.
yeah, it's just like these I mean there's a lot there's I know what you're talking about though, or what you're trying to say. You've got Extraction, you've got like World War Z.
Mhm.
You've got games like that. There's one other one that's
Dead Nation to some extent.
yeah, I know what you're saying though. It's like it's like horde based survival co-op gameplay type of thing. But
Yeah, with weird creatures. Like, I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. So anyway, I've got my eye on this one. We'll see how it shapes up before launch here. Also, Remedy Entertainment showed us a gameplay trailer for Alan Wake Remastered, which was announced earlier in the week after having previously been leaked online. Alan Wake will come to PlayStation consoles for the very first time, Travis, and will include the 2 story expansions alongside all new 4K visuals, updated environments, cutscenes, and character models. The game runs at 4K at 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5, while the PS4 Pro version offers a 60 frames per second performance mode and a 4K 30 frames per second quality mode, with the base PS4 running at just a meager 30 frames per second. That's all they literally could say about it.
Right.
Alan Wake Remastered launches on October the 5th. So this is big for PlayStation gamers. We've never got to play Alan Wake on our ecosystem. For anyone who's
Mhm.
just been PlayStation centric or exclusive for all this time, I did play Alan Wake on Xbox 360 back in the day, and
I
really,
remember you talking about it for like a
really,
week.
really loved it. It's a very, very good game. Great story, kind of eerie, scary
Mhm.
gameplay. Supernatural shit going on, and it's definitely you can see the bones of that game in Control, which is their latest game. And I think this is obviously setting us up for an Alan Wake 2, which has been rumored
Right.
before. Yeah, it's been rumored before. I'm not going to play the remaster. It I just don't feel like I need to. Like if you've played it once, I don't think you need to go back and play it again. But if you've never played it, it's definitely a recommend from me. After that, Rockstar revealed the expected GTA 5 next gen with a trailer featuring improved graphics, seamless character switching, and they also announced that the game has been delayed to March 2022 for PS5. It was previously scheduled to come out in November. And as a reminder, GTA Online will be free to download for 3 months once the game launches on PlayStation. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy the version. I will get the online because it's free. I mean, it'd
Hmm.
be silly not to. That would be dumb not to do because it's just fun to go on there and dick off.
Yeah.
And it's also fun to do the heist and run the weed and all the other stuff that we used to do on there. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, I'm sure all of us will end up there. I think everybody that has access to PlayStation Online needs to download GTA Online. Why would you not? It's free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to get another version of this game I've already beat twice on 2 consoles.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it either. Not the story portion. I'll just get the free online that they're offering to PS5 users. And to be honest with you, and this is kind of a overall sentiment online, the upgrade didn't look that significant to me.
Mhm.
Like I was kind of like, what's upgraded? I don't know. I felt maybe I need to see a side by side from PS4 to PS5, but that's kind of been the knock these last 24 hours online with that is that it doesn't look to be much of an upgrade. So we'll have to see about that. But right now, I'm not pressed to buy it, and most likely won't. I'll just stick with the online, as you said. After that, Bethesda Softworks showed a new Ghostwire Tokyo story and gameplay trailer, followed by.
Oh,
Well,
that's all you had for that.
that's
I
all I got to say
I
about
do
that.
I do wanna say
Mm,
it was bizarre.
of course.
The guy, the main villain guy that looked like he was in, Korn or Slipknot,
Uh huh.
very weird. When I went to bed last night, there was a dark shadow and then the light from the smoke detector, and I was, like, half awake when I opened my eyes, and I, like, for a second saw that face, and I was like, "Okay, definitely can't play that game." I
It
saw
does
a
have.
trailer, and I saw him in the bedroom floating around.
Oh God, it does have Ghost in the name, so you can't do it. Nothing scary. After that, Square Enix debuted another Guardians of the Galaxy story and gameplay trailer as well. That's all I have to say about that. Then developer Shark Mob showed off a gameplay trailer, Travis, for their third person free to play battle royale game called Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. The game features multiple clans, each with unique abilities and powers fighting to restore the masquerade. It will target 60 frames per second on PlayStation 5 and will feature full support for DualSense and 3D audio. Blood Hunt launches on PS5 sometime later this year.
So, this game
Uh oh.
was the game I'm the most interested in.
Uh oh. Oh, man.
So
Okay.
I don't know where it came from. I'm watching the trailer and they're like, they're shooting people and they zoom up and suck their blood. And I was like, dope, what is this? I'm into this. I don't know where it came from.
Mm,
The last guy they showed that's like a brute, the big black guy,
yeah.
he looked like the least fun character to me. I feel like if you're going to be a vampire that's sucking blood in a battle royale, you want to be one of the first three.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like the look of the actual set.
Mm.
I thought that was really cool, and it looks like it'll have some really interesting like third person uh, death death video scenes or whatever you want to call them, cut scenes kind of things. I think it'll be pretty sweet.
Yeah, like kill
The question,
animations or
yeah,
assess, whatever. Yeah.
I wonder how it will work in the battle royale way. Is it going to be kind of like where we're in everybody? It's in your little group or your little version of whoever you are, your little clan. Are you all together trying to knock out the other clans, or is it just 1v1? That kind of a thing. I'm interested to see how all that kind of plays out, how big the map is, that kind of thing. But at this point, I'm very interested in this.
Interesting. Well, I also am very interested in it. I have heard about this game. It had been some type of announcement a few weeks ago or something like that, that it existed, and then obviously showed this off at the show. And I'm with you. I think this looks super awesome, super dope, and it's free. So I mean, can't hurt to try it at least. So I think it looks pretty sick. The moment to moment combat, like you can go from shooting to melee, and like you said, zipping around the map and everything looks dope. So I'll have to check that out. After that, we got yet another Deathloop trailer, and that was followed by developer. I have literally nothing to say about that. I don't know what the fuck. Then developer Awaseb, no idea if I'm saying that right, announced open world tropical adventure game Chia, I don't know, for both PS4 and PS5 via a gameplay trailer. The game is set on a small archipelago in the Pacific Ocean in a place called New Caledonia, which apparently is a real place, and players will have the ability to possess any physical object or animal in the world to aid in their exploration.
I felt like this was a Disney movie.
It's not for me. Naughty Dog then announced the Uncharted The Legacy of Thieves collection for PlayStation 5 and PC. The collection includes remastered versions of Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and will launch in early 2022 on PS5, with the PC release coming sometime later in the year. So I'm not going to get, like, I don't feel compelled to get this in any way. I've played both of these. They're great games. I don't think there's going to be any type of free upgrade path or even a paid upgrade from either of these games. Like, you're literally going to have to buy the collection again to play these, and I'm out for that. So also weird that it's just these two games, I guess, because they're from PS4 and it's easy to upgrade them and whatever. So I don't know.
It's also like our fourth remake of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems kind of like a cash grab, but
Right. This is our third Naughty Dog game they were working on.
God, I fucking hope not. And then, Travis, it started to get interesting because we got a Wolverine teaser trailer from Insomniac Games.
So this looks cool. I know we saw 2 seconds and they're in a bar, and it looks like they just walked into Patrick Swayze's bar in Roadhouse, but still, he's wearing flannel. And I did not put together it was the Wolverine until the claws came out. Did you? Did you realize that's what it was?
I did. And once I don't know, it's the flannel shirt. Like, when I don't know what it was about it. It's like the flannel shirt, and then when I saw the red spots on his knuckles, I was like, oh, this is Wolverine.
Yeah. So the flannel triggered something in my head. I was like, I know what this is. And then they showed his knuckles, and I was like, oh, he beat the shit out of some people. His knuckles are red. I didn't even put it together in my head. And then when that guy stands up and he pulls the knife, I was like, okay, well, this guy's gonna get fucked up. And then when the fucking blades come out of his hand, I was like, okay, here we go. Like, finally something to be excited about.
Yes. So this was my game of the show by far. I think this is going to be fucking dope. And this is really the only surprise, truly, in a way, that we had, at least from the big announcements, at least from first party. And like you said, it was nothing. It was just a teaser trailer. But fucking A, man, Insomniac's making this after what they've done with Spider-Man. There's no way you cannot be excited about this if you enjoy Spider-Man from Insomniac, because it's gonna be a home run. They're gonna kill it. And also, I think what also makes it my excitement higher is that back on the PS3 and 360 era, we had a good Wolverine game, third-person action game that was fucking dope, where you could just decapitate people, called Wolverine Origins, I think. Awesome game. Fantastic game. But actually, I think that Raven Software, who now makes only Call of Duty, that Raven, the one that does, I think they made that game, if I remember correctly. So just a cool little fact there for you, but super excited about this. This is going to be insane. And I'll have something else to say about it in just a minute when we wrap up. After that, Travis, we got to see your beloved Polyphony Digital, who shared a new Gran Turismo 7 trailer featuring a look at the return of campaign mode, vehicle customization and tuning, a photo mode with real-life backdrops they're calling escapes, car collecting, legendary tracks, and new gameplay. They also announced in the post-show that it will launch on March the 4th, simultaneously on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
Well, first of all, fuck them for not telling us when it was releasing until after the show.
Uh,
Fucking assholes.
we're going to talk about that.
Secondarily, they've taken what we've all liked about Gran Turismo Sport, and then they've taken all of the fun stuff from the other Gran Turismos about car customization and collecting cars, and they've even brought back 2 really good tracks. I can't think of what they're called now because I'm too excited. But they're on the trailer. You're in the woods on one, and the other one's the big Banky boy. Anyway,
Big Banky boy.
yeah, it it looks sweet. The graphics look really good. Obviously, Gran Turismo is so Polyphony is like so anal about these car details that the cars will look perfect.
Oh, it's fucking stunning. It's a stunning looking game.
That's probably part of the. I know obviously COVID pushed them back, but like they are so anal about the noises of the cars, the way they look, the way the gear, all the stuff that it's going to take them forever to get a car scanned in and ready. But anyway, yeah, it's awesome. Everybody on the internet is excited. All the sim racers are excited. It's also caused a little bit of a resurgence in Gran Turismo Sport because now that people have an end date, okay, in March we're moving on. We got 6 months or whatever. Like, that has helped a lot, kind of to give life back to what we had. But anyway, what's not to be excited about it? You get the best of both worlds of what made Gran Turismo fun. Having a car, upgrading it, tuning it, putting turbos on cars for no reason, putting big stupid wings on them. Like that's part of what made Gran Turismo so much fun when we were kids. So now we can do all that. Plus we can do the actual racing that we like to do online, which is so easy to do the way they have it set up with the daily races and then also the FIA championship. So as long as they keep all of those things together, I mean, they have all of us in.
Yeah. So obviously this is not for me. I'm not going to play it, but like I said, it is stunning looking. It looks like a beautiful game. Like the car models are ridiculous. The graphics look ridiculous. I thought all of the stuff like the customization and the tuning actually looked really cool. Like, I mean, I definitely get it, but it's just not for me. I'm not a sim racer, obviously, but
yeah.
Finally got your date.
Well, one cool thing that they showed they showed 2 really cool things. There's a version where they're showing like a Toyota AE86 and it's racing against other cars that aren't even within this. They're like 10 years older than that car, 10 years newer than that car. And the way the old Gran Turismos would work was you could upgrade your car and it would change its class. So like, do this, do this and that. It's N200 now. It was N100. Or you add these 3 things, you can race in the N400 class. So what that seemed to suggest was what I would assume. This is a complete speculation, but right now we have 3 daily races a week, and daily race A is always kind of like a family car or a normal car, not a race car, and a random track. I think it might be a random class and a random track. So you can race whatever car you want as long as it's in the N100 category. And you'll be able to take from your car collection, a car you've modded and built out the way you want to that race. And then the other 2 will still be like the race cars that we use now. That would be my guess. That'd be really cool, honestly, because you never get cars like that on a track together. And the other cool thing was they were racing army jeeps on a rally course.
I didn't.
I don't know that. I don't know what that means, but I want to do it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I must have missed that. I did not see that at all. Anyway, exciting times. Finally got a date for that. We can quit wondering. And then after that, Travis, we also saw another heavy hitter in the form of a Spider-Man 2 cinematic trailer, also from Insomniac Games. And it appears to be potentially a co-op game featuring Miles Morales and perhaps Venom as the villain, although it's unclear at this moment. We learned that it's coming sometime in 2023. Now,
so will you.
So will I. This is going to be another banger. I mean, Insomniac is just ridiculous. And it looks awesome. Of course, it's just cinematic, but we already know from Spider-Man and then from Miles Morales, like it's a known property, right? It's a known quantity from Insomniac with this. So it's going to be a banger, going to be fucking ridiculous. Looks awesome. Can't wait. I don't know what else there is to say about it. Did it intrigue you at all? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think co-op would be fun, but I know that you and John will probably co-op it, so I don't really know how. It's not a tri-op, so I don't really know how it'd fit into that, but that's okay. I will say that if obviously they're not going to release Wolverine in the same window as Spider-Man 2. But if they
Mm,
release Wolverine in 24, they have a potential based off of how Spider-Man and Miles Morales was.
mhm.
They could go back to back game of the years.
Very possible. So that was the comment that I was waiting for, is that because we have a date on Spider-Man 2, we know that Wolverine is obviously coming after that. Now, is that 2024? Is that 3 years from now? Is that 4 years from now? I don't know. They said was that they're very early in development. I don't feel like Sony would announce a 2025 game. I really don't even feel like Sony would announce a 2024 game, but it's clearly not coming out in the same year as Spider-Man 2. So, we'll see. I also want to say about co-op, the potential of co-op. I think that could be very well done in a game like that. If anybody can pull it off, I think it's Insomniac. So if that's the case, if that's real, we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But that's also very intriguing.
Would you both be Spider-Man? How does this work? Is one of you
One would be
Uncle Ben? Like,
no, one would be Miles, and one would be Peter Parker.
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm reading this now as a human with eyeballs, and that makes a lot of sense.
perfect.
It didn't compute. Sorry.
I understand. And then finally, Travis, the show wrapped up with Santa Monica Studio delivering our first look at God of War Ragnarok with a story and gameplay trailer. We learned that the game takes place several years after the first, with Thor and Freya as the two main antagonists. There will also be new runes and abilities, and all 9 realms are included in the game. No release date was announced, however, but it will be the last game in the Norse saga, according to a post show interview with Herman Hulst. And finally, we learned that Cory Barlog, the director of the 2018 game, is not directing Ragnarok. That role falls to one Eric Williams, who has worked on every God of War game as a combat designer. The former director, Cory Barlog, said that it is tradition at Santa Monica to change directors across games. Any thoughts?
I think the only questionable thing that the fans have is that Cory Barlog is now the director.
Or no
Wait,
longer, you mean?
sorry. Yes, whatever. I flip the names. You know what? I do this all the time. Anyway, but Eric Williams is the director now, not Cory. So I think that would be a fair question to ask.
Mm.
Especially if it's a beloved franchise as it is. You don't want somebody to come around and fuck it up like George Lucas did with Star Wars. Anyway, I'm here for Fat Thor. I'm
Oh, yeah,
excited.
yeah.
I talked to you about that today, where I saw the picture of Fat Thor and thought it was like a joke, like somebody had made a Fat Thor and then put somebody's name underneath it as like a joke. Like, I didn't understand. But then you're like, no, that's Thor. They want him to look like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because everything I've ever read about Thor suggests he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's fine. He can be fat.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I mean, again, I assumed that this would be the closer going in.
Mm. Mhm.
It was the closer, obviously. It looks awesome. They all look awesome. If you're like me, you feel like you're probably too far behind to start, but the game doesn't feel like you have to have played them all to play this one.
No, this you only need to have played 2018 to play this one for sure. And it's also available on PS5 on the PlayStation Plus collection, and it has a PS5 60 frames update. It's a fantastic game. Definitely highly recommend playing it. So, obviously this looks awesome. It looks like to me more God of War, which you can't complain about that because 2018's game was fantastic. So it just looks like more of this on a little bit grander scale, different things being added to combat, new enemies and everything. Looks awesome. Totally stoked about it. Can't wait. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it didn't really blow me away necessarily,
Mm.
but I don't think you can be blown away because it is essentially the same game with more stuff. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not like a new IP or whatever. Like it just looked like more of that, which there's nothing wrong with what came before. So
Mhm.
you don't fix it if it's not broke.
I did feel like watching the trailer when the son, what's his name? Tony.
No,
Jonathan.
no, it's
Marcus.
Atreus. Atreus.
Atreus was, he's standing back there and he's like, I want to run off and, I want to meet Loki and do all this and that. It's like we were we were just teetering on like this very, very old school trope that we've seen in storytelling for so long. And I was like, please don't fall into that trap. At least make it a little bit original. So hopefully that
Mhm.
would be the only thing from a guy who's never played the games, but from a storytelling thing. as you know, where I sometimes I just guess the endings before they happen.
Mm,
That had a lot. That had an interesting feel to it to me. So
yeah. I want to. I feel like I need to say this too about the director change. I don't think necessarily that it's a big deal per se. You know, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and they're obviously not going to give one of PlayStation's biggest franchises to the hands of somebody who's not capable to. So,
you'd hope.
I mean, let's just say that. And the guy's worked on every God of War game, so he's been around. He knows what's going on. I think what this stems from is because, as we've speculated on this show before, I believe it's my theory that Cory Barlog is working on a sci-fi game at
Hmm.
Santa Monica Studio. I think he's directing a sci-fi game of some sort.
Yeah, you tweeted that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, and that's there's been rumors, there's been hints. His Twitter location says the Glittering Fields. You know, I think that's what he's doing. So he's busy on another project, like we've talked about. Multiple, these studios are working on multiple projects. Just all lines up. So anyway, I don't think there's anything to be alarmed about. But let's now talk about overall thoughts on the show. I'll start off here. So the first 40, it was a 40-minute show. The first 30 minutes to me were average. I texted you and said, this is average so far. And then the last 10 minutes was great. You know, we had bangers. We had Wolverine, Gran Turismo, Spider-Man 2, God of War, all at the end. So it closed out great. For me, I left it feeling a little bit disappointed, but I think that's because, like we talked about last week, I hyped it up a little bit too much for myself. So I have to give them a little bit benefit of the doubt. Some of that's my own fault. However, we haven't really heard from them in a year about PlayStation 5 specifically. You know what I mean? The last thing they did was a year ago. I understand COVID and everything. It just seemed like we needed a little bit more. Now, some people are going to listen and say, "Oh my God, we got Wolverine and we got Spider-Man 2 and we got God of War." Like, yes. So there's no doubt those are bangers. I'm glad that we didn't record this right after the show, because after reflecting on it for a little bit, I think the issue that I had with the show was pacing, because I think their pacing was terrible on this. And what I mean is that they waited for the last 10 minutes to show off everything that's of really any kind of consequence that's big. You know what I mean? They saved all the big things for the very end.
Mhm.
They should have, you know, interspersed these things better. Like, start off with Spider-Man 2 teaser, and, you know, or God of War, and then end with one of those, you know, then throw Wolverine just there in the middle. Like,
Out of nowhere.
yeah, show Spider-Man at the top, and then you think, oh, cool, we saw Insomniac. And then in the middle, bring Insomniac back up, show the Wolverine teaser, and then everybody's like, what in the fuck, you know? And then you end with God of War. Like, I don't know. I think the pacing was off. Weird, really kind of alignment choices there in the show. And then a couple of other things. Why did they have like a 5 or 10 minute post show thing to really? I don't know. Well, first of all, they saved the Gran Turismo release date for that.
Mhm.
Fucking why? Just like, that needs to be in the show. Like,
Yeah,
don't
put it
save
in the
that.
trailer.
Yeah, don't save that for the thing at the end. Like, why? Don't do that. That was a poor choice in my opinion. And then, like you said, a lot of remakes, a lot of remasters. But overall, after having reflect on it, I think it's a very good show. If you, from top to bottom, I mean, it's hard to argue. I just think that if they would have made some different organizational choices with dispersing those differently, you know, I would have felt differently, like right from the top, right off the bat. So that's kind of what I would say about that. What do you think?
Yeah, your pacing comment that's spot on. That's one of the issues I had because we were sitting there for 30 minutes. We haven't heard from them in a year, and not that we don't get anything for 30 minutes, but we don't get anything for 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And then we're getting bored, we're losing interest, and they're like a Deathloop trailer, and I'm like, you are killing me right
Oh
now.
fuck yeah, poor
Like,
decision there too.
yeah, so to throw in some stuff that we didn't know about or weren't really sure about at the beginning, like you said, that would have made a lot more sense to me, and it made it a lot more fun too because you would have been able to like maybe some stuff that you knew wouldn't be that interesting or could be criticized for. Like, imagine if they had reorganized this and then they threw in the Wolverine teaser trailer and then they gave us a Deathloop trailer. people probably would have missed the Deathloop trailer because they'd been tweeting about Wolverine. That'd have been perfect. Could have
Right.
avoided any and all criticism. But I feel like in the past when I've watched these shows, there was always these random games that they would show that like would get me excited, even if I didn't play them. I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool. Or like, wow, you can see how the potential of this game could lead into the future, like of giving me some stuff in another game or whatever. You know what I mean? And the only
Yeah.
game I felt like that with was Vampire the Masquerade. That's the only
Mm.
game that really popped up, and I thought like I wasn't expecting to like this. It's interesting. I think it has a lot of potential. The gameplay, although it's a battle royale, being able to move around the map almost in a portal like sense, but not really in a Dishonored kind of sense, that was really cool to see those different items or these different kind of perks used in a different way. That being said, the rest of it to me wasn't interesting. The remakes aren't interesting to me. Typically, once I play a game, I'm done with it. I don't really replay games a whole lot, even if you remaster them. I mean, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, I love Red Dead Redemption 2 if they remaster it on the PS5. Am I going to play it again? I don't know if it's worth seeing
Mm.
Arthur with better facial wrinkles. I don't know if that really does it for me. So
Yeah.
to me, it was a complete waste until we got to the end. And I did not expect to get 2 games from Insomniac.
Yeah.
They're basically floating the PlayStation 5 right now anyway.
Mm.
I mean,
Great point.
they put out 2 that are awesome. We got 2 more coming that are going to be awesome. I mean, if they're not the best studio, are they the best studio in the world?
I mean, they're making a strong case. They're definitely the most important studio that PlayStation currently has.
Right.
You
Great. And
can,
then like you said on Twitter, great purchase. I think you retweeted somebody that had said that.
it's a steal of the century. I mean, you can even make the argument, in my opinion, that they're the best overall studio that PlayStation has. Like, imagine where we would be right now on PS5 without Insomniac.
We
We
have
wouldn't
Astrobot.
we wouldn't have Miles Morales. We wouldn't have Ratchet. We wouldn't have Spider-Man remastered. I mean, we already have 5 known properties from them
Mhm.
for PS5 before we even know they did all of that in the same amount of time that we learned about God of War Ragnarok. And we still don't know dick about what Naughty Dog is doing. We don't know dick about what Sucker Punch is doing next. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's also something else I want to say. I'm glad you said that. It reminded me. I think that PlayStation is relying too much on Insomniac.
It's kind of weird.
It is, but they're relying. I don't know if they're being forced to because everyone else is just behind or they're not ready or I don't know, but
Mhm.
they literally are riding Insomniac. I mean, hard, hard, hard. And I don't know again if that's by necessity or what, but it's just crazy that they're having to lean on these guys so much. And maybe they're just well organized and they're just ready to go. I don't know, but
Mhm.
it just seems like they're really riding these guys and I don't know.
Yeah, I wondered about that too. It seems like they're pushing them really hard, but also Insomniac doesn't really have a lot of distractions either. They're not having sexual harassment suits and other stuff like that.
Fair.
So, when you keep it in your pants, you can get a lot done. I mean, look at Isaac Newton. So, to close up, the last 10 minutes I would give a 10. The first 30 minutes I'd give a 4. So that's a 7 overall.
Fair. That's fair. Number 2, Travis, Sony Interactive Entertainment announced the acquisition of Liverpool, UK-based developer Firesprite on Wednesday. Firesprite is a studio of more than 250 employees, which makes them larger than both Media Molecule and London Studio combined. The studio was founded in 2012 by former employees of Sony Liverpool, which was closed by Sony in 2012, and they are PlayStation's 14th first-party studio. Those former Liverpool employees created the popular anti-gravity racing series Wipeout, and the current team collaborated with the team Asobi on the Playroom for both PS4 and PSVR, and also created their own IP, a horror shooter called The Persistence for both PS4 and PSVR. Following the announcement, head of PlayStation Studios Herman Holst spoke to GameIndustry.biz to elaborate on the deal. Regarding what Firesprite brings to the table, Holst said, quote, I think the combination of that legacy and that entrepreneurial spirit, that's a great foundation for us to collaborate on the few great exclusive game projects that we're working on together, end quote. In terms of what the studio is working on, Holst wants them to lead development on their own projects, stating, quote, As Firesprite has grown and evolved, we think that this is a role that it's now ready for, which is developing exclusive games for PlayStation Studios, end quote. Prior to being acquired, Firesprite was actively recruiting staff for two projects, a quote, game-changing, huge multiplayer shooter and an ambitious dark narrative blockbuster adventure, end quote. The only hint that Holst offered was that their projects will be in genres outside of what is typical for PlayStation Studios. What do you think?
Okay. Well, PlayStation Studios has lots of genres. I don't mean, how much further out can you get? Are they going to make like a big titted goth game or something? Like what else is there?
I think they just mean like more than third person action adventure games.
Oh, well, that's a fair criticism in general of PlayStation Studios.
Sure.
My brain's all over the place. So they got rid of PlayStation Liverpool, but then they just bought somebody in Liverpool. They deleted them and then bought them back. Is
Basically.
relatively what happened. Love
Basically.
that. Love that. That's great. And also, the Persistence is a wonderful band name.
Mm,
That's what I've basically taken from this. But Wipeout's great. Everybody likes Wipeout that I've ever talked to or read about. So great. Awesome. We're bringing them on. I want to see what this really means as far as like what's a game changing huge multiplayer, because
mhm.
you can make the argument that Splitgate is a game changing multiplayer. Obviously,
Sure.
Fortnite was a game changing multiplayer. So like game changing out the gate to come out and say we're going to make a game changing, that's a hell of a claim,
Mhm,
especially to recruit people. Like that just reads like marketing bullshit to me. But the
mhm,
last one, an ambitious dark narrative, I feel like that really feels like something like when I picture in my head, I'm watching a trailer and it pops up, it says Firesprite, and it's a dark and gritty like LA Noir or something like that, or
mhm.
even Alan Wake. I'm like, okay, cool. That feels right to me because those two types of games are very different.
Yeah. I think this is an exciting acquisition. I think anytime that they make an acquisition into the first party, it's exciting, obviously. But what really interests me the most about this, it's not really their resume in terms of what they've made, because I haven't played anything that they've made, if I'm being honest. But the fact that it's two things really. The fact that they have more than 250 employees, which makes them bigger than Media Molecule and London Studio.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I think that is very telling. They obviously are working on two projects, which are the ones that we believe that they're working on, is what they were working on before, which is the multiplayer shooter, like you talked about, in the dark adventure or dark narrative blockbuster adventure game. Both of those sound very intriguing to me. So that's really all I have to say about it. Is that I think the combination of their size, combined with what they're allegedly or were working on, sounds very exciting to have in the first party. So we'll see. Number three, Sony walked back their ridiculous PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 upgrade path for Horizon Forbidden West over the weekend. As previously promised, players will be able to upgrade for free from the PS4 to the PS5 versions of the game, regardless of the edition they purchase. In a press release on the PlayStation blog, Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan stated, quote, "It's abundantly clear that the offerings we confirmed in our pre-order kickoff missed the mark. Last year, we made a commitment to deliver free upgrades for our cross-gen launch titles, which includes Horizon Forbidden West. While the pandemic's profound impact pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisioned, we will stand by our offer. Players who purchase Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation 4 will be able to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version for free." End quote. Ryan also made clear Sony's stance on cross-gen releases, moving forward, adding, quote, "I also want to confirm today that moving forward, PlayStation's first-party exclusive cross-gen titles, newly releasing on PS4 and PS5, both digital and physical, will offer a $10 USD digital upgrade option from PS4 to PS5. This will apply to the next God of War and Gran Turismo 7 and any other exclusive cross-gen PS4 and PS5 titles published by Sony Interactive Entertainment." End quote. Any thoughts?
Well, yes, I'm sure you have some interesting thoughts on this too. The first thing I want to address is this feels like, as a fan base, we've won something. Like we called them out, complained, were really, really loud, and they've walked it back, right? I feel like we finally won something. That was a nice win for us. The next thing I want to touch on is this cross-gen commitment is retarded, and
Mm,
I've read online from a few different video game journalists that have said by 2023 it's going to be phased out. But By his comments, it doesn't read that way. But as we've seen, are his comments even worth what are they worth anything? Because he just walks himself back and says whatever he wants anyway. So he could flat out say, we'll never stop making PS4 games, and then tomorrow he'll turn around and say, we're never going to make them again. I think he's proven that we can't really trust what he says when it comes to money being involved. Just a thought.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really grinded my gears was in the first part of that quote where he says, we made a commitment to deliver free upgrades, which included Horizon Forbidden West. But the pandemic pushed Forbidden West out of the launch window we initially envisioned, but we will still stand by our offer. So what you're telling me is you weren't going to stand by the offer because an act of God pushed the game back out of a window. So clearly they had a window on a calendar that said, hey, if we offer this upgrade for a month, it won't cut into our profits too much. Well, this fucked us over. So now they're like, we'll just pretend like we never said that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an excuse. Don't tell me that. That's bullshit. Don't tell me that. Oh, well, the pandemic pushed it back, but we'll still, guys, we're good. We're good guys. We'll still honor it. Like, that's not an excuse for anything. And your reasoning doesn't even make sense. Like, if you would just come out and say, hey, we're going to be a little bit shorter on money than we thought, so we were just going to pretend like it didn't happen. Okay, cool. I can buy that, but I'm still mad at you, right? But like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, all that says is we tried to pull one over on you. You guys didn't buy it. Here's a reason that's bullshit. Take it or leave it, right? It's just stupid. I can't believe anything he says. That irritates me a lot because it's like even though we won and they've walked it back, he still has to have the last word in some way. It's like arguing with a toddler.
Yeah, it does. Very well said. I don't think I can add much more than that. It's very well said. You hit the nail on the head, and it does come across that way. It does come across of like, hey, I need to have the last word in a way. And to your point, they did try to see if they could get away with it. It basically is what it seems like. And obviously they couldn't. So it is good that they walked it back. They reversed their decision and decided to stand by their fucking word. I mean, is that too much to ask? I guess it was bullshit. I mean, let's be honest. So it's good that they're changing it. However, the other thing I want to say about this is that also to your other point, it sounds like this is going to continue to be a thing, but for how long? Because he tells us right there that there are going to be other cross-gen titles coming because he says any other exclusive cross-gen title. So we're not done. We're not done after God of War and Gran Turismo 7. So what is left? What else is coming in 2022? Because Insomniac did confirm that Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine are exclusive to PlayStation 5. Thank God. So what is coming after that we don't know about that's going to be cross-gen? So that's interesting, but prepare for that. Number 4, Activision peeled back the curtains on the Call of Duty Vanguard multiplayer suite this week with a revealed trailer. The game will launch with 16 maps for traditional core play plus 4 maps for the Champion Hill game mode. The game also adds a combat pacing feature where players can choose between tactical, assault, and blitz, with each pacing mode changing the style of gameplay by altering player counts and map sizes. This comes alongside a myriad of other smaller, newer features and tweaks like the return of weapon mounting, an improved gunsmith, and more. And finally, the launch of Vanguard will move the Warzone map to the Pacific Theater of World War II. PlayStation players can participate in the Vanguard beta right now. What do you think?
Definitely no reason not to try the beta. The few things that kind of jumped out to me were the combat pacing, the tactical, the assault, and the blitz. So we've talked before about how some of these multiplayer shooters are just too fast. They're such a Twitch shooter that it's like really impossible for us to play it because we don't play enough hours in the day to be good at Twitch shooters, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's why a game like Battlefield is not only easier for us, but yeah, I mean, Battlefield's more appealing to gamers like us, I think, because of the tactical aspect of it. The same reason that Hell Let Loose is interesting to us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an interesting way to try to address that, and it's very creative. I'll give them that. I wouldn't have thought of this. I wouldn't have thought of having 3 different kind of speeds that you could play at. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
But what I see happening is people playing Blitz, and they're like, dude, I bet if we switch to tactical but play like Blitz, we'll kick some ass because they won't know what to do. I feel like eventually it just won't matter. It'll be like a mess, or nobody will be on assault. It'll be something like that. But I'll give Call of Duty props. I think that's a cool idea. I mean, hell, I wouldn't have thought of that, like I said before. And I'm interested to see the kind of the gunsmith thing because I don't really know what else you can do with to improve gunsmith, quote unquote. I mean, it is what it is. Across all games, I have no idea how you can make it better. So I'm interested to see what a quote unquote improved gunsmith really means.
Yeah, I don't really have anything much to add about that. So let's move on. Number 5, Travis, we also have a bunch of news nuggets, per usual. Feel free to join me anywhere you see fit. First nugget, PlayStation announced the September additions to PlayStation Now this week. Coming to the service are Tekken 7, Final Fantasy 7, first-person shooter Killing Floor 2, dungeon crawling shop management game Moonlighter, computer RPG Pathfinder Kingmaker, and exploration adventure game Windbound. Tekken 7 will be available until February the 18th, while the rest appear to be permanent additions. Pretty good list. I don't know if anything stands out to you, but it's overall pretty good list. Strong additions to PlayStation Now. I did try Moonlighter and Windbound for a little bit this week. Moonlighter, definitely not for me. Not a fan of the art style per se. Windbound was intriguing. The art style was very cool, and the premise seemed cool, but I just know that I'm not going to have time for it. But anyway, worth checking out some of those if those interest you. Killing Floor 2 is fun. I actually own that. That's another kind of first-person co-op horde mode shooter thing. Pretty neat. Next nugget, GamesBeat's Jeff Grubb reported this week, and Video Games Chronicles' Andy Robinson confirmed that PlayStation is developing a new Twisted Metal game, coincide with the upcoming television series.
100% game will be better than the series.
Oh, no doubt. I don't know. Like we've talked about, I don't know how you do a Twisted Metal TV show, but the game could be dope. I wonder who's making that. I bet it's obviously a first-party studio.
I bet it's cross-gen.
Oh, fucking hell. Also, website Push Square reported that Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning's Fatesworn DLC is still on the way and has entered the final stages of production. Publisher Focus Home Interactive has changed their name to simply Focus Entertainment.
I had to read that 3 times to understand it. I was like, it's the same word. They took home out. So
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, Ubisoft revealed the post-launch roadmap for Far Cry 6 this week. Players can expect free content in the form of weekly insurgencies, new missions, new gear, and 6 special operations, which introduce new locations and mechanics. There will also be free missions that cross paths with Danny Trejo, Rambo, and the Stranger Things universe. Ubisoft also confirmed that the game has gone gold and will offer a free PS4 to PS5 upgrade, and the game will weigh in at around 39 gigabytes on PlayStation 5. That's outrageous. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that Kena Bridge of Spirits may not get a sequel. It may instead move to TV or film.
Darn.
That's interesting. Lost to Judgment director Kazuki Hosokawa told website The Gamer that future games may leave Japan and take the series characters to other countries. Seems odd. Paradox Interactive CEO, oh boy, Heba Lungarud, I have no idea, has stepped down to, quote, differing views on the company's strategy, end quote. This comes following the financial reports earlier this year that cited Eba's desire to focus on the publisher's core titles, such as Crusader Kings and City Skylines, rather than incubating new IP such as Empire of Sin and Vampire the Masquerade. Publisher Square Enix teased a new card-based RPG this week called Voice of Cards: The Isle of Dragon Roars, which Travis is excited about, with more likely to be revealed at Tokyo Game Show. Also, website PlayStation Universe reported a new rumor which suggests that Sony will release a PlayStation 5 Pro by late 2024 with a push towards 8K gaming and a price tag in the range of $600 to $700 US. Doubt that.
Major doubt. Yeah, can we put up the meme? Put up the meme from LA Noir.
Yeah, X to doubt. I doubt Big Tire Square to doubt. First of all, 8K gaming is not going to be a thing for a long time. I mean, a lot of people don't even have 4K TVs. They're just now getting 4K TVs and as like the standard in households. Okay, and so we're not just gonna in 3 years from now like, okay, 8K, like I don't know. Also, $600, $700. I don't see that either. I see at most 500 again, and they just lower the price of the base model. I mean, that's the playbook, so I'm doubting this big time.
Right, and And just a general question about 8K. It's like, at what point does that even matter anymore? Because on some of these games, like even like Uncharted, like at what point, like when does 8K really bring it home for you? It's like
Mm.
like Call of Duty could look really good, or sports games, or Gran Turismo could look really good in 8K. It's like, a game like whatever game we saw earlier that I called a Disney movie, like it's always going to look cartoony. Like a game like Borderlands, like is it going to be any more crisp? It's just
Yeah.
I don't really know. That's it's hard for me. Like you said, at this point, let's say this really does happen in 2 years, 3 years, to buy a TV that's good. Can you imagine what an 8K gaming TV would cost? Like
Oh shit.
to do that just for a few games that can actually do it is not really
Al-
appealing to me.
Also, I mean, think about how much of a time developers are having trying to get their games just to play 4K at 60 frames per second. And in
That's
3,
true.
I mean, they can't even, a lot of them can't even do that unless they're the big boys. But we're going to go to 8K in 3 years? Just no fucking way. Next nugget, Death Stranding received a new update which added support for PS4 to PS5 save transfers ahead of the launch of the director's cut. Developer Sledgehammer Games teased that future Call of Duty iterations will include a field of view slider. The new Electronic Arts studio, founded earlier this year and helmed by former Monolith Productions vice president Kevin Stevens, appears to be called Neon Black Studios, according to recently filed U.S. trademarks. Marvel's Avengers will get its first raid, a gear upgrading rework, a power level cap increase, and Spider-Man as a playable character, all by the end of the year. Interesting. Genshin Impact developer MiHoYo revealed that the game's newest update, version 2.1, which added Aloy from Horizon to the game, has already raked in a staggering $151
Oh my god, the
million
fuck?
in the first 10 days, Travis. Jesus Christ.
How much of that is from the frozen yogurt they sell?
Oh, that's good.
That's fucking insane, by the way.
I don't fuck that is,
151.
think about that. That's what it costs to make a AAA game. They made that shit in 10 days. That's what it costs to make The Last of Us 2. They made it in 10 days. God, outrageous. Also, a new update to online survival game DayZ has added 60 frames per second support for PlayStation 5 owners playing in backwards compatibility. And PlayStation 5 sales in Japan have surpassed 1 million units, reaching the mark faster than PlayStation 4 after it launched in 2013. I think we can chill out on Japan meltdown shit with Sony. The Medium received update 1.02 on PS5 this week, which re-enabled ray tracing effects and improved performance, as well as haptic feedback. And they've said that they are working on a fix for trophy support. Website Gamatsu reported that Pan-European Game Information Board has rated Adventure RPG Kowloon High School Chronicle for PS4. So that's coming, I guess, if you give a shit about that. The German USK, which sounds very Nazi-ish, has rated as Travis parts in the mic, has rated action RPG Magnum Lord for PS4. You
Missed
just
a
had a
chance to be called Magnum Lord.
they did. They really did. Toy Soldiers HD has been delayed from September the 9th to September the 30th on PS4.
They're still in Afghanistan.
Yeah, they haven't got them all out yet. 2D hand-drawn Metroidvania game Eterna Noctis will launch on PS4 and PS5 on December the 15th. 50v50 World War II strategic multiplayer first-person shooter Hell Let Loose will launch on PS5 on October the 5th for $39.99 US. An open beta test will take place from September the 16th through September the 20th for those interested. Great game, guys. Very fantastic. Gonna buy that for sure. Also, story-driven observational crime thriller Conway: Disappearance at Dahlia View will launch on PS4 and PS5 on November the 2nd. Tongue-in-cheek, old-school tactical espionage action game, Unmetal will launch on PS4 on September the 28th. It's a parody of Metal Gear Solid. Dark humor action shooter Blackbird will release on PS4 and PS5 at some point in the future.
It's a very different game.
Yeah. The 1997 anti-RPG, whatever the fuck that means,
I don't know what that is.
called Moon, will release on PS4 and PS5 according to a new PlayStation Store listing. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries will come to PS4 and PS5 on September the 23rd. Neptunia Cross Senran Kagura Ninja Wars whatever. Will launch on PS4 on October the 26th in North America and October the 29th across the pond in Europe. Science fiction 3D space shooter Subdivision Infinity DX will come natively to PS5 on September the 22nd. Computer RPG Disco Elysium will get a physical release for PS4 on November the 9th. 3D side-scrolling adventure game A Juggler's Tale will launch on PS4 and PS5 on September the 29th. Exploration puzzle game The Eternal Cylinder will release on PS4 on September the 30th. And finally, Travis, Gematsu reported that survival sandbox base building action RPG The Riftbreaker will launch on PS5 on October the 14th. The game will feature 4K at 60 frames per second with ray tracing effects, as well as full mouse and keyboard support and DualSense support. The game looks pretty cool. I'm interested to check that out. And that's all for the news this week. And I'll now turn it over to Gassy Boy Travis for this week's new games.
On the 7th, we had Bus Simulator 21, and they were giving away free access codes on their Twitter handle the last 24 hours. So if you guys got one or saw it, good on you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool of them to do that, by the way. You don't really see that a lot from developers and publishers. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, we have Clown Trick, Fist Forged in Shadow Torch, Sonic Colors Ultimate, and I'm just dirty little secret, guys. Not a big Sonic fan. Doesn't do it for me. Also, we have Tanuki Justice. On September the 8th, we have Struggling. On the 9th, we have Blood Rain Betrayal Fresh Bites. Glow.
Another vampire game.
Wonderful. High School Romance. Could be a vampire game. Hindsight 2020. Wrath of the Rakasha. Rakshasa. There we go.
Nice.
Life is Strange True Colors, which some people seem to be enjoying on the Twitter. Give it a look if you want. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's strange. But we also have Save Your Nuts. Followed by the Tourist. Ultra Age. And on the 10th, we have Life is Strange again. Come out 2 days in a row.
What the fuck? I missed that, huh?
I'm just Ron Burgundy. Dude.
I didn't edit it, so.
Lost in Random. NBA 2K22, but the servers didn't come out until the 11th. And Port Royale 4 and the many times referenced on this podcast, Tales of Arise.
And that's all for the new games this week. It's a pretty good week, pretty banger week. So got some big stuff. We got NBA 2K22, which is always a big one. We got Tales of Arise, which is a big one. It's reviewing very well. It's in the high 80s on Metacritic. It's exciting for fans of that. Lost in Strange. Life is Strange True Colors also, I think, is getting reviewed very well. It was highly anticipated. Let's see here. Fist is a PlayStation exclusive that's reviewing in the 80s on Meta. It's a 2D Metroidvania game, or 3D, sort of 2.5D, whatever. Looks cool. Let's see. Anything else here?
I think I read Tales of Arise was like the 15th or 17th in the line of the Tales games.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's a shit ton.
And I think it's been, I looked it up too. I want to say it's been like 5 or 6 years since it came out. I looked it up today and then I don't remember it now because I didn't write it down.
Yeah, they used to come out every year. I was telling you there for a long time, and then they kind of fell off. Then also the last one I wanted to mention was The Tourist. It was given a 9 out of 10 by PlayStation Lifestyle, so apparently it's pretty good. That's also the game that actually has an 8K mode. Right after we talk shit about 8K, has an 8K mode on PS5. So there's that.
Also, Tales of Arse.
Tales of Arse. Yes, take the eye out, and it's Tales of Arse. It becomes a British action RPG. All right, let's begin to wrap the show up here, Travis, as we always do, by discussing what we've been playing and what we're looking forward to. What do you got? What's on your radar? What have you been doing?
We had some good fun on Splitgate. I'm sure we'll keep playing that. It was funny, I hadn't played it in a few days, and like it took me a game or two to adjust because it was like, oh, these guys got really good while I didn't play it for 3 days.
They did. Happens quick.
It does. Hit you fast, but yeah, anyway, blast as always. And that's a great example of what I talked about earlier of a game like Portal It has these really cool physics that I would never play, but I'm glad it exists because it could be something useful in the future for me. And here's a game that took Portal and Halo and threw them together. Perfect. So great example of what I was talking about earlier.
Mhm.
We did the Hell Let Loose beta. Finally got it to work after the server updates. A lot of fun. Shot some artillery. Have no idea where it landed. Rode the back of a truck. Saw your dead soulless eyes across from me. So that
Naturally.
was fun. Not anything new there.
Mhm.
Killed my first guy, and I was so excited to kill my first guy. I missed like the first 3 shots with the M1. Like
Yeah.
I kept pinging him because I was like, I'm just gonna miss. I kept pinging him, and I was all over the place. I got to fix my sensitivity is part of the issue.
Yeah, you need to.
Switch to the gunner, the machine gunner, and I want to say I got like 4 or 5 kills in that game using that. Which, at the pace we had a good squad. We communicated well. I thought we moved pretty well. You
You
were
did.
healing us. There was a couple of guys that were riflemen. The only thing we needed was a recon guy, and I think we would have been set. But we had a lot of fun. Those guys. We won that first game. The second game we got obliterated. But yeah, I got a guy. I hip fired the machine gun and killed a guy.
Yeah.
And like, you have no idea. You're not getting hit markers. Like you've talked about before, and you're just spraying into this field. And he like went down, and I walked up to him and shot him with a pistol to make sure he was dead and wasn't laying down.
Yeah.
Because that's my go-to. When I get shot, I just drop and I'll
Yeah.
reload.
So what do you think about the game overall? Like, do you like it? Do you enjoy it, or you think it's too
Yeah.
much, or what?
The only thing I hate is the spawning. If you have an
Yeah.
outpost or you lose your sector, to lose your sector and then have to start 800 meters away is brutal. I wish there was a way where, like, if you have 4 of the capture points and you lose the 4th one, that you could just spawn at the second one, like leave the middle one open for us to, run into and battle over. That's fine. But having to restart at the first one, it is just, by the time you get up to the 3rd one, they're already taking the second one. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
that seemed like a little bit much. I get the idea behind it, but it does that. I didn't like that part. That's my only criticism. It's completely different than Battlefield or Call of Duty. It's you need to work as a team. You have to
Yeah.
bringing supplies up, moving even artillery. Like we would have needed our squad at the capture point to tell us kind of like
Mhm.
move a tick left or right, move up or down, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's really fun if you've got a group that you can play with. I enjoyed working with those guys. It was a lot of fun calling people out. We had a guy to the left. We're going to flank them around the back. It's the strategy of it was a lot of fun. It's like, I don't know. I would love to have a SWAT game like that where we could like,
Fuck yeah.
we're trying to take out a bank heist or something. Like,
Yeah.
it was just it's fun, and the places that we're at are real places.
Mhm.
The gear looks legit. The guns are legit. The guns feel cool. They all feel a little bit different. This is without the PS5 upgrade. I'm sure once we have that, it'll be even more different. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. It's fun. It's still outrageous. I can't get over the artillery when it hits near you. What that's like.
Yeah.
The sensation of people shooting at you and missing. It's like I've never been shot at, obviously, in a war, but I've played paintball, and it's that same feeling of like shit. You don't know where it's coming from, and you're
Yeah.
just trying to like not get hit. It reminded me a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, it's a blast. You gotta have time to it could take you an hour. Like, you've gotta be ready to play.
Yeah, it can. What else you been playing? Anything?
Yeah, I did some, Gran Turismo this week. My driver rating has never been higher, so I don't know
Okay.
what's happened this week. I got on last night before you got on, and I was so slow. Like, I there's just days where you get on and you just don't have it, and I was fucking miserable. Like, I mean, like 6 seconds off the world record, which is like, sell the game if you're that slow. Don't get online. And I don't know what my problem was, and then I switched, I don't know, I decided to switch cars on a whim, and, I was, like, 3 seconds faster on the outlap. I don't know what happened, and I was like, "Okay, cool," and then I was fine after that. So, last night, I was gonna win last night. There was a guy in a Bugatti chasing me down. I was gonna let him pass me 'cause I was in an Audi, which is a lot faster in the curves, and I was gonna set him up and pass him 'cause I'd already done it before in the race. And a guy behind me just decided not to brake, and I got shoved into the Shadow Realm. But I managed to finish second because he slowed down after he hit me, and we we were so far ahead of everybody that I had time to go into the gravel, come back onto the track, run half of a lap with dirty tires, and still not get past. That's how far ahead our three had gotten as a group. And in the second race, I think I finished fourth or fifth. I can't remember, but that race was actually really a lot of fun. There's a lot of good racing at that track. We were at Fuji, which is an F1 track. It's a difficult track. The sectors are all very different, but it's a track with a lot of passing zones, and if you're with good people, it's a lot of fun to race. So I've been lucky the last week or two I've raced with actually decent people who, when they've made a mistake, have been like, my bad, which you don't really get a lot. So
Yeah,
it's been good.
that's cool. It's cool to have people, or I guess it makes it more fun to have people take it serious too, and who fuck up. I guess that's in a way that's kind of what I like about Hell Let Loose too. Is like it's more
Yeah,
serious
more.
people. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
You're like, oh shit, I missed that guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's exactly the same thing. It's a little accountability.
yeah. So speaking of, I also played Hell Let Loose. Obviously, I've been playing it a lot. I love that.
Yes, you have.
I love that fucking game, guys. I fucking love it. So I'm in. I'm gonna buy it. It's weird that you can't pre-order it yet on PS5, but you can on
Right.
Xbox. I was talking with PlayStation Game Size Twitter account last night, and he was just speculating that maybe it's a October PlayStation Plus game because it comes out on the day that
Oh
new
shit, that'd be dope.
new games for PlayStation Plus would come out. But seems odd that they would do that, considering that they have a marketing deal with Activision for Call of Duty, and it's a World War II shooter. So I'm not
Mhm.
convinced on that. But anyway, $40
By
is. Go ahead.
by the way, 'cause I found myself doing this on Hell Let Loose. We're having a lot of fun. We're flanking these guys. We're dominating them. And I think I killed like 3 or 4 guys within like a minute. And I just found myself talking so much shit to them. I was like, fucking suck it. That's your head, motherfucker. Like, I don't, maybe it's because you haven't shot for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just came out of me. It was like organically primal.
Yeah. They probably did it in real life to some extent too. Probably like, fuck yeah, whatever. Anyway, $40 is a great price point in my opinion for a multiplayer only game. So excited about that. I love playing it. It's a great time. It reminds me, you mentioned it. It reminds me of SOCOM on PS2 back in the day, and it also a mix of that. And I used to play SWAT 3 on PC.
Yes.
I used to be a PC nerd. But I used to play SWAT 3 with people on PC. Very tactical, very strategic, that sort of thing. If you want to play it seriously.
And the interesting thing about you mentioning SWAT 3 is there were
Mm.
aspects of that game and this game that will terrify you because of how quick they happen. Like, I remember opening up a door in a house underneath a staircase, and there's just a fucking guy there.
Yeah,
Like, or like on this game, you're coming around a corner to get a capture point, and there's just a guy there with a shotgun. And it's just
correct.
like all you hear is your helmet fall off.
Yeah, you
Like
say
both of
cling.
those really, like, you got to be on your game even though nothing's happening.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And then also, I played a little bit more of that free to play battle royale game I told you about, Super Animal Royale, where you're animal creatures, and it's a top-down twin-stick shooter royale. Just a different take on battle royale. It's just something fun to turn your brain off and do when you don't have a whole lot of time, because you can get games in pretty quick. Played a little bit of Splitgate, like you mentioned, one night, and it went exactly like you said. We had to get warmed up, and then it finally clicked for us that night. And then finally, the last thing I played this week was I played just a few minutes of NBA 2K22 last night. I decided to cave and go ahead and get it because I got a gift card for my birthday, which was recently. I didn't get to play any actual games because the servers were down until about 12:30 our time. All I got to do is start the My Team mode, get some cards and whatnot, and everything seems kosher so far. Seems cool. We'll see after I actually get to play the game. Graphics are insane. So we'll see.
How's the soundtrack? Is it banging?
The soundtrack is so far full of some bangers, much more less. It's less cringy so far, although I'm sure there's still some of that, and a little bit more, hip hop anonymous. So we'll see. I'll have more to say next week. I don't have a whole lot to say right now, but we'll see. In terms of what I'm looking forward to, I'm going to play more Hell Let Loose in the next week, and we're going to get the open beta folks in, so we'll have full servers ahead. And then and then also on the 14th, we get Deathloop on Tuesday. So it's a big day Tuesday. Very
What's that game
excited.
about? I haven't heard anything about Deathloop.
Oh, really? Okay, fucking A.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very excited about Deathloop, despite Sony and/or Arcane and Bethesda trying to fucking kill our excitement for that game by showing it to us 20 million times. Jesus Christ. I can't.
Here's the ending.
I tweeted after the show, like, so glad that it comes out Tuesday so they can quit trying to fucking show us the game. Like,
I get it, guys.
Jeez. So,
what is that game you told me to download that we were just going to play together and stream? I need to do that tonight. Overcooked.
Overcooked? Yeah, we can try that if you want. We can try that one day. But so anyway, that's about it. I think it's time to get out of here. We've said quite enough. If you guys enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, all of that good stuff on your podcast service. And most importantly, if you would share us with a friend or a loved one, that would be much appreciated. It's always good to get us into more ears and more homes or cars potentially.
We love being in your bodies.
We love being in your bodies in some form or fashion. Also, don't forget to find us on YouTube and check out some of our streams and clips, like our Hell Let Loose clip that is now over 2.6 thousand views. It's over 2,600 views. So
check out our exclusive NDA clip.
Yes, I'm sorry about that, whoever made the game. But anyway, also find us on Twitter and hit us up and let's talk. Let's talk about PlayStation. Let's talk about the showcase. Let's see what you think. And would love to hear from you guys. As I always say, we love being in those Twitter streets. And we'd love to be in your Twitter sheets. Anyway, guys, take care. Have a good week. Stay safe. Talk at you next time. Bye-bye.